Eva Dugan's life, much like her death, was anything but ordinary. Born in 1878, Eva lived a life marked by instability and hardship. While much about her early years remains unknown, by the 1920s, she had become a drifter, taking odd jobs wherever she could find them. Eventually, she landed a position as a housekeeper for Andrew J. Mathis, a wealthy rancher in Arizona. Mathis was known to be a difficult man, prone to bouts of anger and distrust. He was said to treat his employees poorly, and his relationship with Dugan was no exception. Tensions grew, and eventually Mathis dismissed her under contentious circumstances. Soon after, Mathis vanished. For months, there were no answers. Then suspicions began to mount when Eva was spotted driving Mathis's car and attempting to sell his possessions. Authorities apprehended her, and during their investigation, they made a grim discovery. Mathis's body was found buried on his property, his death the result of blunt force trauma. Eva denied any involvement in Mathis's death, claiming ignorance and maintaining that she had only taken the car and possessions because she needed the money. However, the evidence against her was damning. The discovery of the body, combined with her possession of Mathis's belongings, painted a picture of guilt that was difficult for her to refute. Eva Dugan's trial became a media sensation. The courtroom was packed with spectators, many of whom were eager to see justice served. Prosecutors argued that Eva had murdered Mathis in cold blood, motivated by greed and anger over her dismissal. They presented evidence of her financial struggles, which they claimed provided a clear motive for the crime. Eva's defense tried to paint her as a victim of circumstance, a woman down on her luck who had been wrongfully accused. But her stoic demeanor and lack of remorse worked against her. The jury was unconvinced by her pleas of innocence, and after a brief deliberation, she was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death by hangings. The sentence was historic. Eva Dugan became the first woman in Arizona to receive the death penalty. Her fate was sealed, and the public's fascination with the case only grew as her execution date approached. On February 21, 1930, Eva Dugan faced her final moments. The execution took place at the Arizona State Prison in Florence, and it attracted significant attention. A crowd gathered outside, their curiosity mingling with the somber atmosphere of the occasion. Inside the prison, officials prepared for what they assumed would be a standard execution. Eva was led to the gallows with a calmness that surprised many. In her final moments, she reportedly joked with the guards, displaying a sense of humor that seemed almost defiant in the face of death. She addressed the witnesses, thanking them for coming, and maintained her composure as the noose was placed around her neck. But what happened next would leave everyone present horrified. When the executioner pulled the lever to release the trapdoor, the force of the drop was miscalculated. Instead of breaking her neck as intended, the sudden jolt severed Eva's head from her body. The sight was gruesome. Witnesses screamed, fainted, and fled the scene. Blood pooled on the floor, and Eva's decapitated head lay on the ground, a grim testament to the brutality of the event. The botched execution became an immediate scandal, with newspapers across the country condemning the incident as barbaric and inhumane. The reaction to Eva Dugan's execution was swift and intense. The public was outraged not just by the crime that had led to her death, but by the manner in which her execution had been carried out. Critics argued that such a gruesome outcome was evidence of the inherent flaws in capital punishment. In Arizona, the incident sparked immediate change. The state abolished public hangings shortly after Eva's execution, recognizing that the method was prone to errors and unnecessary cruelty. Within a few years, Arizona transitioned to the use of the gas chamber, which was considered a more humane alternative at the time. Eva Dugan's name stands as one of the most infamous in the annals of American criminal history. Her crime and the ghastly mishap that marked her execution shocked a nation and forever changed the way capital punishment was perceived in Arizona and beyond. This is not just the story of a murder and its aftermath, but a chilling account of how justice can take a horrifying turn, leaving scars on society's conscience. Eva Dugan's case also reignited debates about the ethics of the death penalty. Advocates for reform pointed to her execution as a clear example of why capital punishment should be abolished altogether. Others argued that, despite the horrific mishap, justice had been served. Eva Dugan's story continues to resonate as a cautionary tale. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the nature of justice and the morality of state-sanctioned executions. Was Eva Dugan's punishment justified? Or did her botched execution reveal the inherent cruelty of a flawed system? Her case also serves as a reminder of the human cost of capital punishment. While the focus is often on the crimes committed, the manner in which justice is delivered can leave a lasting impact on society. Eva Dugan's death was not just a personal tragedy, it was a national reckoning with the limits of human judgment and the consequences of state power. The horrific execution of Eva Dugan remains one of the most infamous moments in the history of American justice. It exposed the brutality of capital punishment and forced a nation to confront its own methods of delivering justice. Her story is a chilling reminder of the cost of a system unprepared for its own actions. As we reflect on her case, we are left with a question that still echoes today. Does the pursuit of justice justify the means by which it is carried out?